Hi, I'm Carlton, and this is another episode of The Serving Effect, where we spotlight people in our community who truly have a heart for serving. Today we have Angie. Hard to say Angie without Angie's restaurant, but welcome. We're so excited to have you. It's very difficult to get you because you're so busy, but thank you.
Well, thank you for having me, Carlton. I'm honored to be here.
Well, tell us a little about yourself before we start in all the ways that you serve this community.
Well, I think initially it started out the community served me. I was a single mother raising two boys, and every time I would hit a wall, there would be people in the community that would say, "Hey, don't worry about that. We'll help you. We'll help you put the kids in baseball or basketball," or, "Hey, you're doing a great job." And they would just inspire me to be my own boss.
Okay.
There's a story that Jimmy, I didn't realize, like when Jimmy and I, before we started seeing each other, that I worked at Toot and Tell and I worked the back dining room. And one of his friends was in there with him and he said, "Hey, there goes your girl." And Jimmy said, "What is she doing?" Well, Jimmy loves grapefruit juice, but Toot and Tell never had grapefruit juice. And I used to, every time Jimmy showed up there, I would run across the street to Webb's and I would buy him a bottle of grapefruit juice. And when I got back to the restaurant, he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I went to go get your grapefruit juice." He said, "Would you run out?" I said, "No, we've never had grapefruit juice." But I mean, even though he was a customer, I still wanted to make sure he had the experience. I've always been a server. I always want to make sure everybody's experience is great.
Yeah. So what age did you start serving tables?
I was 14.
14.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was this at Toot and Tell. I remember, you probably remember too, that all the guys in the post office used to have, that was a lunch place for them. So they just invaded that place.
Actually, that was the only place in Garner.
It was.
Right?
It was. It really was.
Marion and Donna and Bill. And I worked with them for 20 years, off and on. I started at Toot and Tell when I was 15. I was the Chick-fil-A girl, the lemonade girl at North Hills Mall. And then decided that to get a little bit closer to home. So I went to work for Toot and Tell. Linda Blake, my children's grandmother, she worked at Toot and Tell. And she said, "Come on over here." And then once I got around Garner and got around the people, I mean, it's something that you just can't get away from.
So what are some of the lessons as a young person getting into serving tables? I started, my first job was as a dishwasher at a seafood restaurant. And I remember the servers coming in and it's either they're the worst people in the world, or I'm so glad they're there, or, I mean, what kind of lesson did you learn, or was that just a different atmosphere?
I think it's not just restaurant, it's anything that you do. You get all kinds of people. Everybody has different attitudes. Everybody's dealing with something different. I mean, this world today, the social media just attacks different people at different times, and we've got so much that we have to deal with. It's hard. Mental health is a serious thing.
It is a serious thing.
And people ignore it. And they don't ever say, "Hey, how was your day? Can I do anything to help you?" I mean, it's not just food or money. Sometimes somebody just needs a hug. Somebody just needs to be acknowledged. Hey, they know my name. I must really mean something, But I think like in the restaurant industry, I love it. I've always loved it. I love the people. I love the experience. It's not the same thing every day. It's something different every day. You never know what's going to happen around there. And I think that's the beauty of it. I think everybody should work in the restaurant industry or the service industry because you change colors from different people. And it's not that you're changing being somebody that you're not. It's you're trying to give everybody the experience that they deserve.
That cues off of something that you have it in your story, on your website. You always had a dream of running your own place. I had an idea of how I think people should be treated, a place where everyone could sit and talk and stay all day if they want to. Now, if that doesn't counter everything in restaurant business where we need to get you in, we need to get you out there, customers. And this is not, obviously you've kept that the whole time.
That is my mission, to bring people together. I mean, we've had a little bit of problems. This is the way I look at it. When you bring people together, you can't separate them. So if you start putting people together and they find common things to talk about and they find that they might be related, or they enjoy being around each other, and then you want to give them a table to sit together. You're the one that put them together to begin with, and you're the one that needs to uphold that. You can't just say, here, just today, because I don't have an extra chair for them to sit in, let them sit with you. Well, then, like I said, they become friends. They're family. And then every day they show up and they want to do the same thing. And, I tell them, I said, hey, girls, look, we started this and we're going to continue this because this is what we're built on.
What's exciting is to go in and you can go in restaurants where it's almost a somber, you go into a funeral, and anytime you walk into your restaurant is very exciting and people are talking, even cross tables they're talking. It's not like there's just one small thing. It's like it really is a community gathering at your place, not just a place to eat.
When the girls are quiet, I'm like, I'm not at a funeral home. Please stop. Y'all come on, liven up a little bit. I mean, ask anybody. It's not acting, but you are there to provide a service. They don't pretend. But sometimes we don't feel like getting out of bed, right? There's days I want to lay in bed. There's days I want to just go to the beach. There's days I want to just lay in bed and spend time with my granddaughter or my grandson. But, sometimes I can't because I feel like I have a mission. And they all understand the mission,
You started Angie's Restaurant, was it 2011?
It was.
2011. So what brought you to I'm serving tables and I love people and to the, did you realize what you were stepping into?
God.
That big of a, God.
Really, he led me.
Yeah.
And he had to humble me. I went through a lot. I got knocked down a lot. But the community and God and everybody was there to pick me up. It was amazing. It's a story that one day I hope I can write a book about. I'm so humbled by it.
Yeah. You have such a loyal following because I think taking Mr. Green's, that was a barn and it turned into a place. I remember going with my dad and pastors met there every Friday morning for breakfast.
Yeah.
Way back when the screen door was on the front and that kind of thing. But you go in there and I know you've been asked several times, oh, this place is opening up. Why don't you buy that place or why don't you rent that?
Or build a bigger one.
Build a bigger one and things. And,
right.
and it really does have for people in Garner that know that history and people who want to be a part of a community that want history. I think it was a great thing for you to stand your ground and say, this is continuing a tradition that this community has gathered here for years. And so I want to continue.
It's not always better.
Right.
And there's so many things in our world that are changing. Why? Why change the simple things? There's people that come to my restaurant and they'll say, Angie, I just want to let you know I'm really having a hard day. And yesterday, and I pulled up in your parking lot and I just sat there and prayed because I felt safe. Or when, people show up every day to support or work. Courtney, I'm like, hey, go home, Courtney. And I turn around and she's still there. And I'm like, what are you doing? But there's something in us because it's not just about money. It's our purpose in life. It's not just about, you want a cup of coffee? We want the whole experience. We want to know your name. We want to know about your family. We want to be a part of your life. And I think that's the difference.
I think one of the things that we see good stories and great stories like nothing happens to people. And I think you had a break-in in your home.
I did.
During Thanksgiving, in the time that you were doing Thanksgiving.
It was the first year I was open. Second year I was open, yeah.
I had forgot about that until I was looking up some things. And I think you had a quote that was more about the community. I want to make sure the community's safe. That was your response to, what are you thinking about this? And I know when we had our equipment stolen, it was just bring it back. Just bring it back. I didn't think community-wide. It was just bringing this stuff back that we had. But you approached it as, we want a safe community, so that's why I'm telling this story, and I want this story to get out. Which was big. And I think anybody would have had a bad taste in their mouth to say, I'm out there doing something good, and now something bad happened. But you turned that around. That didn't happen.
Well, I always try to. I fall short just like, sometimes, when we're doing events or we're helping raise money or whatever, the pressure's on. And, generally it's for the good of everything. Like what we'll do to help you. Sometimes, I feel like, oh my gosh, I probably could have behaved a little bit better, but I'm tired. I get pulled in every direction. And before Courtney showed up and started helping me, I was pulled in every direction. She alleviates that some, But, I want to be a part of like Able to Serve or Community of Hope or all these organizations that make a difference. I mean, y'all make a tremendous difference.
Well, you're very creative. I know, and I hate the COVID-19 stories out there, but turning it into a car hop and numbering the spaces and thing, I think that's resilience. I think that's creativity. It was interesting to read that. Some of these things, researching you and looking you up, there was things that I didn't realize that was there, but that was so creative to me that it was, I want to serve. And I think part of that was too, not just serving the community, but taking care of your people.
Well, that's the most important thing to me.
Yeah, taking care of your people.
It's like being a mother with all the children in the shoe. I mean, when you have people look at you and they have families and you're responsible for that, that is a big, big deal. Yeah. People ask me all the time, well, what are you catering for? Well, do you realize that it takes a lot, especially when we shut down on the holidays. I give these people a week off and they still get paid because they give me all their life, and I think that's what it takes. I mean, for the longest time, people told me you can't treat people with dignity and respect. You can't be a boss and a friend. You can't look after things. Yes, you can. We're all human, and some people get a better hand dealt than others. But you know what? When I get a better hand, I can pass that down to somebody else,
right?
And I can make the difference.
Yeah,
and that's what it's all about.
And it takes a team. It does take a team, and you have to invest yourself, and they have to embrace all that you've created and the atmosphere and environment that you want. I didn't realize either that in December 24, you were greatest of all time, ranked in the top 30. Raleigh recognized you.
I mean, sometimes I sit back and I wonder, how did that happen?
And you're like Angus Barn peddler, and there you are. And so my
I guess that's okay.
Yeah. I want to strike the record and say that you're Garner and not Raleigh, so they know that you're not the greatest of all for Raleigh. You're the greatest of all for Garner.
Well, I hope to be.
Yeah. No, you are. And another thing is that you see people waiting to go in, and there is no grumbling. I mean, I never heard anybody said, I'm just not going to come here anymore. There are people sitting out on the picnic table, standing around and sitting in the benches in that area, and everybody just waiting their turn, and that's just amazing.
People that pull in the parking lot when they're having a bad day. I think people know I generally care. I mean, I think people really realize that I will go above and beyond because they've always gone above and beyond for me.
I know that trying to have a meeting with you and when the restaurant's open is just ridiculous. Because you have to speak to everybody, and everybody wants to come speak to you. And so, we learned the hard way with you that you don't need to go during the working hours because people want your attention. I mean, it's a part of the fabric in there. So tell me, how did you create your staff is just over the top with their heart. I mean, it's way above what a paycheck would bring. So how did you instill that in them?
I mean, I think leadership, but I think they already had it. Some people, you just have to bring it out of them. I mean, Courtney and I were just having this conversation. I mean, I think certain people are sent to me for certain reasons because they might have a little anxiety about being around people, or they're young girls that can't look people in the eyes, and they show up and it's like, I need a job, but it's not really what they need is a job.
Right.
They need to know what their worth is. And that's probably one of the greatest gifts that I'm getting. Although when I finally teach it to them and then they turn back at me and like bite my hand, I'm like, wait a minute now, you can't do this.
That's your children though.
Well,
children do that for you. That's what they do.
But it's beautiful because I think that we instill know your worth, and that's what Garner did for me. They gave me my worth, even through the hardest times, even through everything that I went through. One thing I can tell you is they made me believe in myself and knew that I could do what I'm doing.
Well, you've got an incredible team. It's interesting that they have their own personalities, but the core values, of letting people sit and talk and bringing them and checking on them all the time, and you have people servers who will actually walk by a table and say, oh, you must need some tea because everything's going out. It is at times feels like ordered chaos, but it is the most
organized
chaos. I mean, everything, you got people taking things out. And I think every day for people who work in that industry to know that kind of intense hours, it would be very difficult because you see a lot of restaurants where there's all these slow times. So you can go in and everybody's kind of hanging out, but not at your place.
No, they say all the time, they're like, were you slow during the fair? And I'm like, no, we're blessed. But you know what? We receive and give blessings, and I think that's what it's about. You just can't take from people, you know? Even like with all the stuff going on with the food, and people not getting SNAP or not being, I could not imagine going through something like that when I was raising my children, And I'm just trying to figure out how I can reach out and change something like that, in our community. It's there, whether people want to realize it or not. It's there, and it just breaks my heart that some people they just don't know about it, and if they did know about it, there would be a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you've been watching, one of the things that we've had, kind of the thread has been servanthood was modeled to someone, but I think you're the first one that said, I've received, I know what it means to have the community embrace me, come in and to my aid, and now I want to give that back. I think you're the first one that we've had it. It started that way. Like,
yes.
the people came out for me. Now I'm coming out for them. Now tell us about the Thanksgiving. I should have not put Thanksgiving in there when I said your break-in, but this thing has gone really big.
Yes.
It's almost like invitation only these days, where I thought you just walk in and you got so many people that want to be a part of this. But tell us about your Thanksgiving meal.
My grandmother died in 2005, and she was the matriarch of the family. And, when she was alive, I don't care what, you better make sure you make it to her house on Thanksgiving, Christmas, any holiday. Because if you didn't, you better be laid up in the hospital somewhere. And not because she was mad, because I would never do anything to make her feel less than, Well, she died. And of course, when things like that happen, we all know life changes. The family's not stuck together. People break apart. Life happens, right?
Yes.
Until you create this whole new life of, grandchildren and daughter-in-laws, son-in-laws, whatever it is, and you want to start traditions with them. And, and then you meet the man of your dreams, and he believes in you even at your craziest moments. And he's like, hey, I think we should feed the restaurant, open the restaurant on Thanksgiving. And I was like, yeah, I was thinking that. I think we just, versus me laying around feeling sorry for myself because my grandmother passed away and I don't have the family that I so well think I deserve, and I don't have the traditions that I feel like I deserve. Well, yeah, but you know what? One thing about that showed me my Thanksgiving is I had them the whole time. They've been right there the whole time. So you can define family however you want. But mine is a village. They have always shown up for me, But that's how it started. Jimmy and I were kind of going back and forth with it. And that first year, I remember, and Linda, she was a big, big help with that. She was the back of the house. I was the front of the house. We had no idea. I had no idea what it would turn into. But the first year, it was 150 people.
Wow. First year.
The first year. And I thought, I am so tired. This is ridiculous. What am I got myself into? But what it made you feel in your heart. It's like, I don't know, I refer to it as like getting up for Christmas in the morning. The difference. I am making a difference, but I'm not doing it alone. I'm doing it with my community. Yeah. I do see the difference in people's face when they look up to you and they know you don't have to do these things.
Right. And there's a joy in serving.
Oh,
that's the big thing that I think people miss is when we volunteer and we do things for others, it's out of obligation or this is what I should be doing and miss the joy of what you feel when that. I know with churches, there's small pockets of families that would say, I know you're by yourself this year, and so I want you to come. And so having something that's that community where so many people can come together. Now, what's your estimate plates?
The most we've ever fed is 4,300 people.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people.
It's a lot of prep. 250 turkeys, 200 hams, 150 to 75 pans of yams, collards. Well, a lot of collards. Giblet gravy. We get the community to send desserts pre-wrapped. And then everybody just shows up. And, one thing I want to say is it's going to be a little different for us this year because we're doing a little bit differently. But Also, we don't have Mr. Potter and Miss Potter with us. He always said the blessing. He always gave blessing for that. And, I used to have an Angie-versary every year, and I quit that when Mr. Gerald Goodwin died because he was always there to play music. And sometimes I think, why are you stopping that? Because they would want you to continue on. And I thought this year we were not going to be able to do Thanksgiving. My mother's in the nursing home. I don't get a lot of time to go see her. And, we had some things change. People couldn't do certain things, but life happens, just like my grandmother died in 2005. But you learn to adjust. You still keep the mission going, right? And at first I told Courtney, hey, I can't do this. I'm not doing it. I'm going to just take a breather. And then I'd go home, and at night I'd think, all right, no, what if somebody needs that meal or just needs to see somebody that day? What if this elderly couple they don't have family? What if that's the only person that they see on Thanksgiving Day because Meals on Wheels is not open? They have different organizations that are feeding people, but are they knocking on the doors or do they just have to go in? No, we want to deliver to you. We want to knock on your door. We want to let you know that we care.
Right.
And, there's been back and forth and everything, but we're going to do it.
I would wonder who might be watching that would ever go to a restaurant and think they would actually know your name. I mean, you name traditions of people who said the prayer, people who were there, and that's just so foreign, I think, to the customer services. Treat customers, they're always right, but you don't necessarily know their name or ask their name and know that they're here and they're coming back and things. So you've created such a tradition with
well, they're my family,
and it shows. And the serving in the community is about leadership, and that orchestration of people coming in who I know is encouraging people to give or to do for others too. I mean, they're going in there just like you learned, is that the community comes together and helps me, and I want to help them back. Yeah, you've got people coming to your place though. Same thing, maybe coming in and saying, I'm in a rough spot. I'm having Thanksgiving. This is a great tradition. And now, you know what? It feels really good that somebody did something for me. Now I want to do something for somebody else.
Well, look what you do, Carlton.
Well, mine is, I just got great people. That's what I'm fortunate to have. I got great people.
But your mission.
It is a mission.
It is a mission.
Yeah.
And I mean, I believe in your mission.
It was a God thing. It was the same with you. What really made you, know that this was the next step, and that was mine too.
Putting that restaurant together was the easiest thing I ever did in my whole entire life. That's how I knew God was involved.
Throughout our time talking and leadership and the restaurant and the culture that you've created there, you've mentioned Courtney's name several times. So tell me about Courtney and some of the things, and maybe what kind of leadership role she's taking now.
Well, for the last probably 13 years, I've been poured into Courtney. Because eventually you got to pass the torch on. I mean, I'm not going to be as young as I am now, And, one thing that Jimmy said to me a long time ago when I said, he said he was going to the beach, and I said, I can't go. I got to do this. He said, okay. He said, well, can I ask you a question? When you die, what's going to happen to that place? And I said, what do you mean? Why would you say that? Well, I mean, did you sacrifice your whole life for it to end with you? And that changed everything for me. And then I was searching, like, who am I going to, because it's a lot. And, there's a lot of people that I said, hey, you want to help with this? I would never do what you do. You deal with a lot, and it's but they still show up to work. They still do whatever I ask, to help. They'll still help with the mission. They believe in the mission. But then there was Courtney. And no matter how many times I screamed at her, told her this, told her that, she still showed up. She might have cried when she left, but she still showed up. And when she showed up, every time she showed up, she was better than she was before. And she gets it. She understands it. She believes it,
Oh, you built her up so much, now I have to meet her.
Oh, well, hold on.
Well, I actually have met her. I just want folks out.
I did bring her.
You brought her.
I brought her.
All
right.
We'd love to meet her.
All right.
We'd love to hear from her heart. Hey, Courtney, thank you for being here. We've heard a lot about you. And so I wanted to just ask you some of the things that you've learned over the years. I mean, you're in a high stress service industry, and there is a lot going on, and you seem to be very calm. in the storm when I've been in there. So tell me a little bit about what you've learned, or the experiences that you've had that's kind of shaping you for, it sounds like, to be a future Angie.
Angie's was very natural for me. I've been there since I was 20 years old, and I'm going to be 35 next year. So almost 15 years. And I learned from the best. Angie has been teaching me everything she knows and everything she's learning. She's learning every day. So just like being here today, I did not expect to be right here with you. So
all right. That's all right.
Like we learn from each other. There are things that we collaborate on from day to day. There are things in the back of the house that we talk about that I still don't know. There are things in the front of the house that she comes to me and she's like, hey, what do you think about this? Because obviously she is very involved in the back of the house, and I do a lot of the front of the house. So, it's a process. It takes a lot of teamwork. But for the past, 10 years, Angie and I, we butt heads sometimes. I like things my way and she likes things her way, but I have full trust in her and I love her, and I think she's a great teacher. We both have the same mission as you guys were talking about. We both believe in the community, and we both love our customers and our employees, coworkers, as you would call them. We're all a big family. We all want the same thing in life. We want people to be happy, and, we really just want just our people to get along and to love each other,
So you want a team thing. It's a very difficult step to go into leadership. I can tell you, many of the jobs I had before Able to Serve was, as you stepped up into leadership and management type positions, it's a different feeling. I can't tell you that from someone who started an organization, that handing off, having that kind of trust in someone is huge. So I hope you understand how big that is, to say, I've spent my life, this is my life's work, and now I'm handing it over. Yeah. I don't know that I've got there yet. I've got to get there, but having that assurance that, I think it's very important with Angie saying, you've got to have someone who's going to keep this dream alive. I mean, you don't want it to stop, because it's a community dream now. It's not hers anymore, just like nothing's mine now.
Well, that restaurant is her baby. She built that from the ground up, working at all the other places she worked prior to Angie's. And then I started there 2 weeks after she opened. Being young and naive and full of anxiety, we had this conversation on the way here, not being able to look at people in the eyes, just fresh off the, just being very vulnerable and young. She taught me to have confidence. I remember coming to work one day and I was opening a salt shaker, and she was like, what are you doing opening that salt shaker on the floor? And I left crying. I didn't even finish my side work. I just left crying. And I came back the next day and I did it the right way. And she was like, it wasn't that hard, was it? And I thought she was the meanest person, but it wasn't the way that she was telling me how to do it. It was the way that I took everything so personal. And it was a learning curve for me. But it was building me. It was building me as a person. It's the smallest things, and it's the smallest steps to confidence and building character. When I found out that I was pregnant with Abigail, her first grandchild, it was like a whirlwind of emotions for everybody. I was 21, freshly 21. And I was like, well, I'm giving you a grandbaby and you're not even 40 yet, and she's losing it, literally losing it, because it's all unexpected for all of us. And she looked at me and she said, it's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. Everyone is going to be okay. And I think in that moment, we knew that we were going to be in each other's laps forever. And
amazing story.
I knew that I was going to be stuck Angie's forever. But I don't want anything.
Stuck in a good way, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, I really do enjoy what I do. Some days are harder than others, but that restaurant is her baby, and I try to treat it like she would treat it. I try to run it the way that I know she would run it and treat the customers the way she would treat them.
I think the way she describes you, and the way that you were integrated in all that she said. I mean, there was always, well, I told Courtney or I asked Courtney and things like that. So she has a lot of confidence in you, and kudos to people who invest in someone and allow you to fail or allow you to do things wrong and then correct, and then you're strong enough to come back and now I'm better. Or even standing up, there comes a point which everyone in leadership comes to where you have people who are really solid and they may stand you up a little bit on what they have a view on and you have a view on, and having that confidence in each other, that somewhere in the middle there's a great idea. That's important to me, I think, in watching our team, is that everybody should be able to stand up for what they believe, and then for the good of the team, we come to some kind of conclusion in there. But I'm so glad that you were able to come on and that you came with Angie, and that all of our folks that are watching that got a chance to hear Courtney. I actually got to meet Courtney.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. It's fun.
It was a pleasure to meet Courtney. It was great to meet her, and I know everyone that was able to watch understood. Now they saw the Courtney that you talk about. Tell us some ways. One of the things that we want to happen in every episode is to allow people who are watching maybe to be inspired, maybe encouraged to make a step, move step. You have so many things. I mean, the Thanksgiving meal, you have opportunities there, but some of the things that might be someone waiting on something small.
Yeah, but we do it every day. I mean, you don't just have to wait for the holidays.
Okay, so it's a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
I mean, it really is a lifestyle. We have people that show up sometimes, and, you don't want to make people feel less than just because they can't afford a cup of coffee or a biscuit. You want them to feel like we feel. We're all just one step away from whatever it is that life has to hand us.
Right.
And I mean, I think being true to people and, living that life, walking that walk. Don't ever think that you can't do anything.
Right.
Anything is possible. If you have the will and the want, and if you have God in your life, and if you live in the community that I live in, anything's possible.
There's so many opportunities.
Anything.
There's so many opportunities.
If you're sitting around and not moving mountains, that's your own fault.
Right. It's not because there's not opportunities.
There is opportunity
Garner has
every
so many.
day. Not just Garner. I mean, the world. I mean, everywhere you look, there's opportunity. It's what you want to do with it. And if you just want to be a taker, then that's what you're going to be. I like being a giver. I was a giver before I ever had anything to give. And I'll continue to give until my last day. And then I hope, that my legacy for my family, my grandchildren, my son Benji, my son Jacob, I hope that they understand and under, all the hours that I worked, all the things I sacrificed. I mean, it was just to give them a better life, to make sure that they knew that, you can't outgive God. And the love that I've received over the years, I can never give that back.
Well, thank you for being here. I know that the restaurant is running well, and with you and Courtney gone, which is a great leadership thing. If you've seen something today that inspired you, please share it with someone. We have so many people that are out there that are looking for ways to serve, and I think they're looking for large ways, but Angie's is just one of the ways that so many things that she does in the community, so many ways she's poured her heart out, and you can see that the community comes together this way. So please share, let somebody know about our podcast, and so I hope to see you next time. I want to take this opportunity to thank Smith Addressing and Machine Service for hosting the location where we do our podcast, The Serving Effect, and to our sponsors, the morning and the midday Rotary Clubs of Garner. We want to thank you for giving us this opportunity to share in this podcast of how people can get involved in their community and make a difference in the lives of others.